And look for it. Boom. Hi, my name is Aidan Bishop, and I'm a singer-songwriter. And I have a problem. It's a bit of an annoying problem, and I'm trying to stop myself from doing this, but maybe if you're creative as well, maybe you'll understand this. I'm dubbing this either the Todd Howard effect or the George Lucas effect, because I have this compulsion to keep tweaking things that I've already finished. So, for example, I'll have a song, I'll have an EP or an album, I'll be really happy with it in the moment, I'll be like, oh, this is fantastic, this is the best it could possibly be, and I release it to the world. I release it on Spotify, I release it on all streaming platforms, maybe one day I'll release stuff physically, but for now it's just streaming platforms. So I've released it, it's done. And then I'll be like a month or two, I'll come back, I'll re-listen to it, and it's very rare that I don't do this, but I'll hate it. I will hate what I've done. I think, no, this isn't right. Like, the kick is too bland, the guitars are too loud, the vocals are terrible. And so I decide to go back into my door and I start tweaking things again. I start needlessly tweaking the song. And then I'll release it again, thinking, oh, this is perfect, this is the perfect version. And then I'll listen to it again. And I still find something else to hate about it. Now, maybe this is just a side effect of being a solo artist and having very little creative assistance from outside sources. Like, I'm not in a band, don't have a producer, I don't have anyone else really. It's mainly just me, if I'm all here. But I keep going back to projects I've finished and beating myself up over it, and I keep tweaking it, and then I release it, and then I'm not happy, so I tweak it again, and then I release it. And I'm dubbing that the Todd Howard George Lucas effect, because you can already have something great, but you're just making unnecessary tweaks to it. It's already perfect, it's already done, you don't need to re-release it, but you do it anyway. You keep releasing it, you keep tweaking it, things are different, and then you kind of, at least for me personally, I kind of lose what I was aiming for to begin with. It's going to be a bit of a tangent, I do apologise, but my music isn't going to sound professional. It's really not. As much as I'd love it to, as much as I try and achieve the best quality possible, I'm not a professional artist in the sense of I don't have a manager, I don't have a producer. It's not professionally mixed and mastered. It's all just from me on my bedroom in a laptop, where if you have too many tracks, it sounds like a Dalek, and same with too many plugins. So there's only a limited amount you can do. I know, like, you can like bake in effects, and then that can save CPU and freeze MIDI tracks. I've done all that, and it's still you can only work with a song so much, and it can get annoying trying to mix in like very limited parameters before either the laptop just decides to turn itself off, or to just, you can't even hear the playback, so what's the point of tweaking if you can't hear it? So I keep doing that, and my music's never going to sound professional. At least I say never. That's me putting myself down. It's not going to sound professional right now, but something that I've recently come to learn is that it doesn't really matter what the final product sounds like. It really doesn't. And to me, this is kind of annoying, because you think, oh, but it's got to be perfect. It's got to sound exactly like, I don't know, the Killers or Billie Eilish or something. You know, it's got to sound perfect. It's got to sound great. You know, you got to stand among the greats. And the truth is, I'm not there yet. I'm not at that level, and neither were they probably once upon a time ago. I mean, I guess you could argue for like the 70s, 50s, from like the early days, like 50s and 60s, to really the 90s. You didn't really have what you have now. You have people like myself making music from your bedroom and then being able to release it worldwide. It wasn't really like that. You'd create demos, and then you'd share them out, and then build up a following that way. And in a way, a good way to look of music, at least from my perspective, is that I'm just creating high quality demos, and then eventually when I get a band and eventually take over the world like the music will sound better as the years go on, as my skills develop as a musician, as a mixer, and even if I just get the money and outsource the mixing and mastering to an actual professional, like it would sound a lot better than what I can do in an untreated bedroom on a laptop that makes it sound like a Dalek. And it's an annoying thing to wrap my head around, because in the moment I'll be like, this needs to sound perfect, this needs to sound perfect, but the majority of people just don't care. People care more about if the song makes you feel something and if you can dance to it. Like, the lyrics are obviously important, so if you've got something you want to say, or if you've got something you want to say, you want to make sure the lyrics are good. No one's going to care really about the kick drum or the bass or the guitar. Really, in general, people don't care if it sounds... People don't care if it doesn't sound professional, like studio level. People necessarily don't care, because you can have a home recorded track and it still go really well. And it's taken me longer than I would have liked to admit that to Martin and myself, but in general, like, yeah, your music doesn't have to sound perfect. Stop trying to achieve perfection in music, because you're never going to achieve it, because I don't think you can ever get a perfect song. I think it's just, you just go, okay, this is as best as I can possibly do, this gets the point across, release it to the world. And again, music is also subjective as well, so what I think's great, you might not. But for the most part, people just don't care. People really couldn't care less if it's mixed in the studio, if it's mixed in your bedroom. As long as the song is good, then people will listen and people will come back to it. For example, I've got a song off of Fast Food Love called Goodnight and Travel Well, and that's like a 6.5 minute acoustic ballad, and that wasn't even recorded professionally. That was literally using my phone that I'm recording this on now, placed next to my guitar while I was playing it. So I'm not even using proper mics. And the vocals were recorded by having like a microphone plugged into the guitar amp, and then using my phone to record the sound coming out of the amp, and then putting it into my DAW. And people love the song. People come back to it. People keep replaying it because it makes people feel something. There's emotion there. There's authenticity there. Maybe if it was recorded in a professional studio and it was all produced properly and recorded properly, maybe it would get a larger reach than it has. But for me personally, that's not something I'm necessarily stressing about too much right now. I'm just glad that people can enjoy the song for what it is and find meaning from it and find enjoyment for it, and it's quite uplifting to know people come back to it regardless of how it sounds. And as another example, I have a song called The Epitome of Emotional Instability, which is the title track of the last album I put up. And that song is literally just a voice memo, really. There's no mixing, there's no real tweaking. I mean, I tweaked breaths, like little pops, because I recorded it on my phone, like acoustics. I was playing and singing at the same time. I recorded it all in one take, and then put it into my DAW, tweaked the breaths out, the pops a little bit, and then I released it. And that's probably the most played song on the album, which at the time, I will admit, was quite insulting, because you spend hours upon hours upon hours tweaking this one song. You think, oh, this is perfect. This is the song people are gonna love, and then it's the song that you spend the least amount of time on, which gets the most attention, and people keep coming back to it. People can connect to it, and it's just a really annoying thing to wrap my head around. But it's so nice when you do, because at least now I don't have to beat myself up over it too much about it being perfect, and if it sounds like it's from a studio, it's not from Abbey Road. If I can make somebody feel something, if it can connect to somebody, and if it can make someone dance, then by all means I've succeeded as an artist, and the song's fine. Like, there can be production errors, there can be so many errors. Like, you could go through my music with a fine-tooth comb and keep finding production mistakes, and oh, this wasn't mixed just right, or this is out of balance with this, and you can happily do that, but at the end of the day, people are coming back to the music and people are listening to it, and people are connecting with it regardless. So I think if you're an artist out there and you're beating yourself up over it not sounding exactly how you'd like it to sound, then don't. Just don't. Just realize that people don't care. People do not care how it sounds as long as you can make someone feel something. And that is a very liberating thing. And do not fall into the Todd Howard George Lucas effect where you just keep releasing it with different tweaks, hoping to achieve perfection, because it's never going to happen. And you're just going to get fed up with music and you're going to want to quit. And that's not good. That's not good at all. So don't do that if you can help it. That's all I've really got to say, really. If you want to listen to my music, by all means, you can search it up, Aidan Bishop. I think on streaming services I got an album and an EP, so that's good. If you like what you hear, let me know. If you don't, that's fine. I'm sure there's another artist out there that will appreciate you listening, but regardless if you like it or not, I do appreciate you took the time to listen to me. So, small victory there. Have a good day. If you're an artist, don't worry about the music so much, and just keep living your best life and keep pursuing what you love. Bye.